Hello, everyone. I'm Raissa, and I'm bringing you now a new podcast of the blog Softball Now. Now, the first time that we have this experience all in English. As I was talking yesterday, for those who were following our podcasts in Portuguese before, this idea came to me as I noticed that a lot of people from other countries visit my blog on the internet, Softball Now. So I decided to try something for a change, but it's not exclusive for the people who are foreign, who are in another country, not in Brazil. But for those who live in Brazil, who live here, right here in Natal, they can also practice their English. So it's going to be a new experience. I hope you enjoy this with me. And as I always begin in Portuguese, I'm going to tell you the temperature in Natal. Natal is a city here in northeastern Brazil. For those who like soccer, we hosted the World Cup in 2014, the FIFA World Cup. And the United States playing here against Ghana, and they won. I was there in the stadium too. So as I always start here saying the temperature, Natal now has a temperature that is 29 degrees Celsius. That's about 84 degrees Fahrenheit. So it's hot, not so hot as it is common to be here, as usual, but it is really hot. And we have to remember that now it's the fall in Brazil. Fall, it means that the temperatures are getting lower. But in Natal, this doesn't mean anything. It's always hot. When it's not hot, it's raining, but it's hot too. So I decided this theme so we could talk about this in this new podcast in English. I decided to talk about English words in Brazil. I see that this year we have the Olympic Games in Rio de Janeiro. If nothing extraordinary happens to stop these Olympic Games from happening here, because Rio de Janeiro is in that kind of chaos now. But so we have the Olympic Games coming to Brazil, and I thought that it could be a good thing for people who are coming here to know that we use English words in Portuguese, but sometimes we give them a different meaning, and that's the funny part. I can start with lots of words, but I think the first one that I should start with is the word outdoor. You know, here in Brazil, these posters, big posters that we have along the streets with announcements of products, companies, etc., that in English, or in the American English, we call billboard. For some reason, someone started to call this an outdoor here in Natal. So not only Natal, in Brazil, all over Brazil, we call this outdoor. I have no idea why we call it like this, because outdoor is not even a noun, it's an adjective. But someone started to call it like this. So when you guys are here and people talk to you about an outdoor, you have to keep in mind that people are talking about a billboard. Because even people who speak English, sometimes they don't pay attention to this because they see outdoor as an English word, so they think that they are using this correctly. So that's the first thing I have to warn you that are coming here, is that in Brazil we call billboards outdoors, okay? Another different thing that we have here is that we change the pronunciation of words. For example, potatoes, tomatoes, etc. These all belong to a group that we call vegetables in English. But it is really hard to get someone here that calls these vegetables. When they speak English, we don't use this word in Portuguese, but when Brazilian people speak English, they tend to say these are vegetables. Okay, so maybe if you're in a supermarket trying to get some vegetables, you better understand when people talk about vegetables with you. Another thing that is typical of Brazilian people is when we pronounce the past tense of some verbs, the regular verbs. it's really difficult for us to understand. For example, the word work in the past is worked with one syllable only. But for us, it's so typical that every vowel is in a syllable that when we see the word worked, we all imagine that the pronunciation is worked. So we have two syllables in words that are only one syllable. And this is really a difficult part of talking to Brazilian people and get American people to understand, is that we always pronounce past tense verbs, the regular verbs. We always pronounce them as they have two syllables, three syllables, depending on the word. So this is one big withdrawal, I think. One big drawback, sorry. And what else we have here? Another word that we pronounce strangely when we speak English. In this case, it's not used in Portuguese, but when Brazilian people speak English, they tend to say that since is science. I have no idea why. Maybe it's because it's similar to science. I don't know. But that's another thing that we use to pronounce wrong. Well, and we have other uses. With the internet, technology, it's very common that we use these words directly from English into Portuguese. In this case, we have some good examples, not mistakes. We have the internet is called the internet here in Brazil. The word that we use, this little equipment we use to move the pointer in the screen of Windows, we call it mouse, as American people do too. We also use download, upload. We don't translate these terms. We use it very well in English as email. We have no problem in pronouncing them. But there's a small machine that we use that we tend to pronounce as British English. We say pen drive. It's not very common that people say here flash drive. That is the common one in the USA. So if people call you about a pen drive, you know that they're talking about the flash drive, that thing that we use on the USB on the computer. Another one that we have here, but then we changed. We changed the verb delete. We use it in Portuguese, but we try to make it sound like a little Portuguese, like deletar. Reset is also here, resetar. So we really use technology in English, but sometimes we change it a little into Portuguese. We also use the abbreviations that American people do, like HDTV, but of course we pronounce it in Portuguese, HDTV. DVD, CD, we pronounce it in Portuguese too, DVD, CD. The difference is that when we talk about a DVD player, we don't say DVD player or toca DVD. We say it's a DVD, just like the thing that has the songs and the videos. So for us, the machine and the object that we use in the machine, they have the same name. They are CD and they are DVD. No difference between them. But of course, the pronunciation is like the letters are in Portuguese. What else? Another word that we use here that comes direct from English is closet. That part of the bedroom that has in mansions, big houses, where you can keep your clothes. So here we don't call it closet. It sounds strange for us. Everybody here call it a closet with a really closed letter O, the sound. So it's not closet here, it's closet. And another one that I think it's funny is kitchenette, because here in Brazil we don't like this sound. It's like sh, so we change it, and here it's kitchenette. It's totally different. What else? Coming back to technology, notebook computers. We call it only notebook. And, in America, it's not common that people call this notebook computers. They call them laptops. But here, we don't like the word laptop. We use notebooks. So if people are talking to you about notebooks, don't think of the traditional one. Think of a computer, so you don't get a misunderstanding. We also have here What else? Shampoo, we use it here, very similar to this. Technology, again, when we talk about the internet, when we are giving our account, for example, my Twitter account, if I'm talking to an American person, I'm gonna say that my address is at Raíssa underscore Silva underscore. But if I'm trying to speak English with a Brazilian person, I can't say that it's underscore because they don't understand. For them, this symbol is a underline. So they say at Raíssa underline Silva underline. So we have these little differences between English from English people, American people, and English for Brazilian people. I think it's really funny to see these differences. Some verbs we try to use in Portuguese, as I said, for example, stalk, the verb stalk. We created a new one in Portuguese when you keep searching about someone on the internet and following all this person's steps. We say that you are stalkeando. So you're stalking. In Portuguese, you are stalkeando that person. What else? We also have a new one. This is, I can't see this verb in the Oxford Dictionary, but it is a slang. Ship, when we think about fans, think about two characters or two celebrities and they think they have a relationship, this kind of things. So they say they are shipping the couple. Here in Brazil, we say that we are shippando. But it's not with S. It starts with a letter C in Brazil. It's funny that it's a slang here too. Most of the people don't understand this. We also have a different pronunciation, music. That kind of music with guys, most of them two guys singing about how you live in the country, etc. So here in Brazil, it's called country music. No country, it's country music. It's totally different. What else? Oh, yes. When we come here and our store has some discounts to offer, they never use Portuguese because Portuguese sounds like it's not fashionable enough, it's not stylish enough. So they try to announce all their products with the words off or sale. So if they give you a 50%, they're going to say, or they're going to write on the window case, 50% off, or they're going to write a big sale in red to get somebody else's attention. Another thing that I think it's funny is the use of the apostrophe S in Brazil. Apostrophe S in English, they came in that we're talking about the contraction of the verb be. For example, he is, he's, right? But also we can use it to express possession. Like if I have a book and I'm talking about my name and the book, I say, oh, this is Raíssa's book, to mean that the book belongs to Raíssa. But in Brazil, apostrophe S means like it's something fashionable. So if you have a store, you're going to have all the S's in that store with the apostrophe before. So don't think that apostrophe S in Brazil, when you see a shop or something like that, don't think that this apostrophe S means a possession case, because it isn't. It's just a question of style, just to make it sound better or look better on the shop, in the front of the shop. Well, here we also have hot dog, but we don't call it like this. Of course, we say hot dog, like it has two syllables in each word. But we still prefer the Brazilian version, the real translation, that is cachorro quente. But some people call this hot dog. It's common to see it here. People understand this. Another one that I think it's funny, and this sounds funny, but we don't have it anymore. But here in Natal, a long time ago, I think 15 years ago, there was a drugstore between two, in the intersection of two big streets here, two big avenues here, Senador Salgado Filho and Bernard Vieira. Right there in front of this place, across from this place, we have Midway Mall now. Yes, we have a mall that is called Midway Mall. So we really love English around here. So across from this place, we had 20 years ago, something like that, we had a drugstore. And the drugstore was called Natal Farm. So people really don't understand English around here because farm has nothing to do with drugs, has nothing to do with medicine. Farm is all about horses, plants, etc. That's what we had long times ago. The place closed, maybe because the name wasn't the right for the place. So we don't have a drugstore there anymore, and we don't have any Natal Farm around here anymore. Wow, another word that is really similar to Portuguese is the word professor, the way that we call university teachers. But here in Brazil, we use this word for all the teachers. So if you teach at a high school, elementary school, if you teach children, you are a professor. If you are a man, or professora, if you are a woman. So here we don't have really this difference between teachers according to their level. Like if they are in the university, they have a different name. No, all of them are professors, but without pronunciation. All of them are professores. Okay. Well, that was this. That was the first idea of having this podcast in English. I thought it would be a good idea to bring some curiosity to this first one. I don't intend to have lessons here of English and Portuguese. That was just the first theme to make you interested about it. But I really want to talk here about other things, as I told you yesterday, the ones that speak Portuguese and were following yesterday. I decided to have this new programs on Friday night to talk about anything that we could talk about, not only one thing. Saturday's afternoon was the same idea, but in English. And the traditional time that we have that is Sundays at 10 o'clock in the morning. We should talk about soccer. Oh, that's another difference, right? But American people know this because American people are the only people in the world who call football soccer. The rest of the world calls this football, and of course we call this football here. Okay, so on Sunday mornings we're gonna talk about soccer in Brazil, specifically about the teams of my city. We have here ABC and America. I am an America supporter. So we're going to talk about this tomorrow at 10 o'clock. I really am sorry for being a little late today because I had lots of problems to get this going, but finally I got it going. I hope you enjoyed it. And of course, I want to hear from you. That's the idea of this podcastings. I want to hear from you. I want to hear your comments, your suggestions, your compliments. Oh, I hope you have some to give them to me. And of course, I'm expecting you to criticize this too. Everything will be really welcome. And I hope to talk to you again tomorrow if you speak Portuguese and you want to hear about soccer, or next week when we get back to talking in English, okay? So that's it for today. I hope to hear from you and see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.